into the world we go, struggling ever for thy fame. Give me a torch which shall shine, and on all afar and near its radiance divine. Let hill and fill these tidings bear, wherever there is an Ethiopian, there also is an of Nigerian. So shall it be that having lent thy best, I shall proudly claim to have come from thee, and when from thee into the world of Christ I will struggle for thy flaming glory. Give me a torch which shall shine, and upon all afar and near its presence divine. Let hill and fill these tidings bear, wherever there is an Ethiopian, there also is an
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please kindly be seated? Ladies and gentlemen, may I warmly welcome you to the fourth Dr. Olumide lecture, organized and sponsored by Igbobi College Boys Association Europe branch. My name is Kate Olumide, and I am Director of Organization for the association and Chair of the Planning Committee for this event. When we lost our dear friend and mentor, Dr. Olumide in September 2014, we considered how best to honor his memory. We decided on a living, dynamic memorial that would, we hope, make a meaningful contribution to the life of our community here in the UK. We have combined the lecture series with our biannual dinner and dance, apart from the third in the series, which was done via Zoom because of the pandemic. However, our aim, our goal in the long run, is to establish this event as a public-only lecture and also continuing in our objective of making a significant contribution to the UK community. So who was Dr. Olumide? At Igbobi College, he was social prefect, house captain of Townsend House, and deputy head boy. Following on from his secondary education, he went on to obtain a degree in chemistry in Canada. He returned to Igbobi College as a teacher and as part of his National Youth Service. Thereafter, he obtained his medical degree from the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan. He worked for a while in Nigeria before relocating to the UK to the pharmaceutical industry. He further obtained his postgraduate specialism in forensic health and certification in cognitive behavioral therapy. He worked as a forensic psychiatrist. In the UK, as a PAP member or member of the UK branch of ICOBA, and what we call it Progress Association, UK as it then was, he subsequently became chairman from 2009 to 2013. During his tenure as chairman, he encouraged the involvement of our wives, children, and this led to the birth of Wives of ICOBA. In 2011, he received the ICOBA Europe Merit Award, almost cementing his contributions to ICOBA Europe as a whole. Dr. Awe was chairman at a critical time in the journey of ICOBA Europe. He transformed the association from a near sedentary position to a vibrant, energetic, and inclusive association it now is. As a true leader, he acted on information and advice, he listened. He took steps that best suited our association. This enabled him to broaden the scope of the organization, forge links with sets and other ICOBA branches around the world. In 2011, when members of the association asked him to serve one more term as chairman, despite knowing he was gravely ill, he did not let on, but accepted and continued to inspire and lead the association for another 2 years. I served as the association secretary during those 2 years, and I remember him as a family man, warm, caring, empathetic, and a delight to work with. The establishment of this lecture in his name is our opportunity to pay tribute to his selfless service, courage, and wisdom. He was indeed a noble Nigerian. This evening, we're very privileged to have in our midst his widow, our dear Dr. Mrs. Abimbola Awe, and one of their children, Dawala. Please stand up to the record. You're most welcome. When ICOBA Europe presents the Dr. Awe Memorial Lecture Biennially, we determine a charity to donate to and support as part of the, what we call it, SDF tradition of donating to charities, charitable organizations. For the Dr. Awe Memorial Lecture 2023, our charity of support is STEPS Foundation. Ms. Liz Haynes, founder, trustee, and STEPS mom, is here with us this evening. Liz, please stand up to be recognized. This evening starts with our lecture on retirement planning, followed by a question and answer session to perhaps drill further on some salient issues on retirement planning after we've had our speaker. Thereafter, dinner will be served. Following dinner, there will be presentations from the African Child Trust, a charity supported by one of our fathers, so to speak, of ICOBA Europe, Senior Femi Yanobolu. After his presentation, the supported charity of this event, SEPS Foundation, will also address you briefly. These SEPS moms will present the work of the foundation to you and ways you can support the foundation. She's been doing some tremendous work despite the obvious emotional challenge. A few of our members are probably close to retirement age, semi-retired, or retired. But not tired. Some, but not tired. Yeah. Some are at the cost of considering or planning their retirement. It seems, therefore, apt for us to present this lecture topic to our members, their families, and our friends. Additionally, the subject matter, retirement, continuously in the news, such subject matter cannot be ignored. This lecture this evening will have a difference to the usual considerations of retirement planning. It will address issues of retirement with particular or peculiar regard to our community, who, although have worked in the UK for many years and Europe, perhaps all their lives, may be considering or have considered retirement in both the UK, Nigeria, or other parts of Africa, or indeed other parts of the world. Our speaker this evening is Mr. Ovi Olumide. He went to King's College. He studied at Durham University and then obtained his master's from Cambridge University. He's principal at Lusana Wealth, which they say provides for their clients a holistic tailored range of services to grow and preserve their wealth inter alia. Obviously, his main focus is helping individuals achieve their financial goals and aspirations, whilst making a social impact on the global communities of individuals less fortunate than ourselves. He is a fellow with the Chartered Insurance Institute and what was recently Lloyd's Banking Group. Please give a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Olumide. Who delivered this evening's lecture titled Retire with Purpose, Crafting a Meaningful Life After Work. Mr. Ovi Olumide.
Thank you for the warm welcome. When I was first asked to come, I felt this pang of jealousy. Igbobi. King's College, and I'm a King's man, does not organize these sorts of events. So there was a little bit of disappointment that we're not even at this sort of level. And then I understood that Igbobi is a place for building elite minds. I thought of, I had to think about, let me put it this way, the committee that brought us and organized this entire set of events. So I have to give a big shout out to Benga Shehu, the chair, Jeremy Coker, the vice, Kay Olule, who from day one has been on it, trying to get this event put together in honor of the memory of Dr. Olumide. May his soul rest in peace. So in thinking of Igbobi, the things that I started to reflect on was the notable alumni. And I thought to myself, where are the King's men? I'm from Delta State, and I thought, Felix Ibu, the first significant democratically elected governor of the state. Surely he must be King's man. No. Ibobi. And I thought, okay, Osinbajo, the VP. Great man, he must be a King's man. No. Ibobi. Femi Kuti, the son of the great fella, must be a King's man. No. Ibobi. And then you begin to realize that Ibobi College is like the silent assassin. And bam! You have to respect the people who come out of that college. So, what I realized is that Ibobi also produces these brilliant minds. It's a place for bringing about elite minds. And here today, what we're going to be doing is sharpening those elite minds even further with retirement planning. I don't like to refer to it as retirement planning per se. I prefer to regard it as financial security. So that period in your life where you have enough money to be able to do the things that you want to do and not be thinking about work. You can work 1 day a week, 2 days, 3 days, or not at all. That is what financial security is all about. But what I think we should probably do today, rather than me going through these slides at the back, I think I'll try and make it interactive. So, there are 3 key things that we should be thinking about when it comes to retirement planning. I'm going to put it out to the room to let us know. What do you think the first of those 3 things might be? Savings? Pension? Paying off the mortgage? Okay, so happiness. And that is where we start. The very first thing that you need to understand around retirement planning is what your goals, your desires, your objectives are. That is the very first thing. Can anybody tell me what number 2 may be? No offers? Peace of mind. Peace of mind. Okay. The second thing you need to be thinking about is how much is it going to cost me? Then the third thing you need to understand is where am I now? Let's take all of those one by one. So if you start with your desires, your goals, your objectives, how do you break that down even further? You need to be thinking about what sort of age am I hoping to reach this goal? How much money will I require per annum, per month, per week to enable me live the life that I want to live at that point. You need to understand these things, because if you do not, you're like a woman. No, a man. No, I can't say that. You're like a person. Who arrives at the bus stop with no destination. Any bus will take it. Then you need to understand, how much is this going to cost me? Because if you now put a goal or a desired objective, you set a line in the sand, and you need to understand, how much is this going to cost me to cross there, to get there? Otherwise, it's hope in a future unseen. There is no plan. So you are in a position where you are trying to understand how much it costs me. What does that mean? It means, how much do I save? How much do I invest? What do I sacrifice so that I can get there? In the time that I have to get there. What assets do I allocate? What do I put to property? What do I put to equities? What do I put to gold? What do I put to bonds? Do I do crypto? Good answer. Good answer. Yeah? But you need to understand what is going to help me get my assets, the position that I will be in when I get there, to understand what to be able to get the desires, goals, and objectives that I have set in place. If not, you are like a lover who decides that they are going to buy for their amour, the apple of their eye, a diamond ring at Tiffany's, only to arrive there and realize that they do not have the money. So they cannot pay the price. So you have to you cannot be approaching retirement or approaching financial security with just a hope that it might work. Maybe I will step into Tiffany's and they will give me the diamond ring. Think again. So you then have to, you've taken two things you have looked at now. You've looked at your goals, your desires, your objectives. How much is it going to cost? Then you have to understand, where am I now? And that is not a question of fake it till you make it. That is serious introspection. Do I have the means right now to be able to achieve the goal that I have set in the time that I have set it? Do you? Am I saying to myself, I'm going to get there and I will have £10,000 per month to be able to live a life of luxury? Because I'm in a £5,000 job. How can I do it? How much time do I have left? You have to look at these things seriously. Sit down, understand your assets, your liabilities, your income, your expenditure. Where are you now? Because if not, you're like an individual who has decided that they were going to get that ring, Tiffany's, does not have the money. Should you seriously be thinking Tiffany's, or should you be thinking Argos? Oh, I had exam. Okay, maybe that's better. You have to understand where you are now. So those are the three key pillars you need when you are starting to think about retirement planning or any kind of planning seriously. What are my goals? Is it happiness? What are my desires? What am I to save? What do I need to invest? Do I understand investments? Do I need help? All of these things need to be put in place because you cannot just arrive there to financial security and say, I have arrived. Please pay me. That is a fantasy world. So, those are the three key things you would need to have in place. But, as you are doing that, there are three phases of planning that you will also need to undergo. This is a little bit more challenging, so I probably won't throw it out. You need to think about, one, accumulation of your wealth and the period that you spend doing that. Two, decumulation of that wealth and how fast will it go. Then you need to be thinking about three, legacy to your beneficiaries. And how will that be spent? Will you be able to plan intergenerationally or not? But there is one key underlying principle or theme that connects them all. Does anybody know what that theme is? Planning?
Tax. Saving.
Tax. Thank you. Tax. Tax is the underlying theme that connects them all. Because if you do not work on your tax, you are like someone who goes to fetch water with a bucket. And there is a hole in the bucket. Will you be doing twice the work? What is the point? If you do not understand the tax, you are in a better position going to go and get a bucket that does not have a hole to be able to fill the bath or whatever it is you are trying to fill. Repair the hole in the bucket. Tax. It is the one underlying theme. If you can focus on that and understand how that is going to help you accumulate your wealth, you will be able to build your wealth more efficiently, you will be able to enjoy your wealth better, and you will be able to pass on that wealth in the most effective way. Okay? So, when we think about things like that, you need to understand as well that tax is one element. Then the other element, once you started to focus on building your wealth or in building your wealth, you need to be thinking about using the eighth wonder of the world. Which is, does anybody know? The eighth wonder of the world? Compound interest. Compound growth. The eighth wonder of the world. Now, the interesting thing about this eighth wonder of the world is that everybody thinks they understand it. So if I was to say to anybody here, that might be challenging, but how do you define compound growth? Actually, it's the gentleman who actually said compound interest. How do you define compound growth?
Compound growth is the accumulation of interest on interest.
Oh my goodness, is that an accountant? Okay, so compound growth is exactly that. We're looking at the annual growth of the rate of return on your investments over a multi-year period. But that is not what you should really be focused on, because it is the ability for you to make more money than you have in your sleep. So if everybody here really understood what compound growth was about, they would be like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was an individual who at 11 understood compound growth and understood the fact that when he gets to 100 years old, he would be in a very good position financially. Right now, in the UK is a very generous government in that it gives tax to people, or it gives tax back to people who have not actually even paid tax. Did you realize that? So it means that you can now give to your child who is just born. You can put money into an investment vehicle for them, and the government will give you tax back. Back where I come from, they call that a woof. But how many people are using it? How many people are taking the generosity of the government and putting it in their pocket or putting it in their child's pocket? How many people? Let me give you a quick example of how that will now operate. If you were to do that to a child who was born, and that child reached the age of 18 whilst you were doing that thing where the government was giving you money, this is the effect of compound growth. By the time you've done it for 18 years and you stop, that child, when they reach 60 years old, how much money do you think would have accumulated? A lot. They will be multi-millionaires. Multi-millionaires. So when we now talk about retirement planning, that is when you should have started. But if you did not start there, when is the next best time to start?
Now.
Right now. Because you need to get that compound effect going as quickly as you can. But the unfortunate thing is that most people start to really think about retirement planning, financial security, after they've misused their 20s, they've gotten into their 30s, and they're rushing to get children, and then by the time they get to their 40s, they're like, oh my goodness, I still have children, and retirement is around the corner. And by that time, how much do you think it will cost them on an annual basis to get the same £2 million that a child only used to 60,000? I've given the game away. So the child who accumulates money and invests £60,000 by the time they're 18, 60,000. How much do you think a 40-year-old would need to reach the same 2 million at 60? I see a hand in it. Oh, it's not for us. How much do you think they'll need to put away?
1,200,000.
1,000?
Over 200,000.
Yes, but still a little bit of a distance from there. Yeah, so they will need to put away every single year at least £30,000 for 20 years. From 40. So you are talking £600,000. 10 times the amount. And you still won't get there. You still will not get there. Yeah? That is the power of compound growth. So these are things that you need to be thinking about. So if you have not started, you need to seriously be looking at these sorts of things now. Okay, so there are so many other elements that I would love to have been able to speak to you guys about, but it seems like my time is already running short. Yeah? Accumulation, decumulation, legacy. Each one of these elements has a tax element in it that you need to be paying attention to. In terms of how you accumulate your wealth, you need to be ensuring that you do not have a leak in that bucket, so you need to understand the tax. Where am I able to save the tax? What vehicles can I put money into to help me save it? When it gets to decumulation, when we talk about decumulation, what we're talking about is people who have already reached retirement. unfortunately, tax is still a big problem. So if you now have a pension pot, let's even say the pension pot was £1 million. That pension pot is halved when you start to pay tax on it. So you need to be in a position where you now have other assets that will enable you break down that tax and have an easier time spending your income from there and still being able to leave it to the next generation. So you're looking at accumulation, decumulation, legacy, what it is you leave to the next generation. Because you have two choices when you get to that point. You can either leave your money to the government because they will tax you again, or you can leave that money to your children. I've heard some people say to me, oh, but I don't want to spoil my children. They will squander the money. So who do you prefer? For the government to squander the money, or for your children to squander the money? So you need to be in a position where you have not only built your wealth, you enjoy your wealth, but you can pass it on because you have understood compound growth, which is like that silent killer, silent assassin. Bam! And then you see it. Kind of reminds me of the Bobby College. I think on that note, Kay is giving me indications that I have to stop. But I was actually trying to wrap it up and get to the point where I wanted to share with you this story in terms of focus. When it comes to retirement planning, you will have to be very disciplined. When it comes to any form of financial planning, you will have to be very disciplined. There are going to be things that are going to be very distracting in getting there. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the legend of Ulysses, the Greek myth of Ulysses. Great. There is a picture in the National Gallery. I think the artist's name is William, if I'm not mistaken. And but on seeing it, it's a big picture with women, 3 women, voluptuous, beautiful, in all, with their assets all on display. But right beside them, you have the carcasses of men who have fallen to their allure. Yeah? This is the myth of Ulysses is about a captain who is coming back from a campaign, an expedition. And as he's coming back, he's passing through the sirens, just as they've been depicted in that picture. Passing through the sirens, and the sirens would call out to these men. And the men would go towards their death against the rocks because they have been enticed by the distractions that the sirens have brought to them or have made known to them. Now the challenge that you now have, or a challenge that Ulysses had, was I have to take my men back to their homes safely. How do I do that when I'm crossing the territory of the sirens? I will make my men tie me to the mast because I am the one who is the captain of the ship. So I must maintain contact, I must maintain vision, I must maintain focus. Then all of the others had their ears plugged with wax. Row, 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 row. And they got past the sirens despite the allure, despite the cry of the sirens. They got past the sirens because Ulysses was tied to the mast. He could not direct the ship in their direction, and his men could not hear his cry. What is the point of that story? Focusing the mind. As you build your retirement plans, as you build whatever financial plan, there will be distractions. There will be noise. there will be things saying, do not invest today. Do not do it now. Oh, the market is not good. Oh, it's not performing well. Focus on your goal. Be like a Bobian. Sharpen the elite minds. I read something from one of your chairs that Ibobi College is about, how did he put it? Developing the elite's mind, but not minding the elite. Any questions or?
Thank you very much, Ruby. What I learned from that was that if your pocket has a hole in it, and the tip will not work. Thank you very much for that. And now we come to the question and answer session. Any questions for Obi, please, on retirement planning?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker Obie. That was a beautiful rendition on the financial security aspect. One little thing you left out was the personal wishes and the personal desires of each and everyone going into retirement. It's good to have accumulated funds before you retire. But no mention was made about spending your retirement, which as it is called retirement, not thinking, planning, it's too late to plan once you are retired. But also, you have your wishes to do those things you are not able to do when you are busy thinking and planning about your retirement. And how do people really fill their time in retirement? How do you consciously develop your mind and keeping your mind alert and planning and doing things for yourself? I believe those are just as important as thinking about the financial aspect of retirement. Developing your mind. Keeping in touch with growth, technological growth, scientific growth, etc. I thank you for a very good speech, but I believe as a retired person, there is more to retirement than thinking about money. Thank you.
That is so beautifully put. Retirement, as with life, is not always about money. But I would have to respectfully state that that's almost maybe 1% of the time. Because there's virtually nothing in this life that can be done without money. Virtually nothing. So you are in a position where you want to be free from the need to be thinking about money. So if you can have one of two approaches to this. You can be in a position whereby you are content with what it is you have. So your mind can now be free to focus on other things. Family, which will now consume, so I have a number of clients, families that will now consume a lot of your time. Work in itself, spending time with loved ones, interests that you would have had previously. So I have clients who wanted to be in a position where they were thinking about working on their golf handicap or tennis, and they were afraid that if they got to retirement and they did not work, they would not be able to do anything. Only to find out that just by focusing on whether it's their golf, their friends, their family, travel, their spouses, it occupied virtually 100% of their time. So you have a lot of things that are enriching when you get to that period. That could be done. It is not a big void. It is a period that is probably even more enriching as your second career than your first was. But what you do not want to be in a position to be is not prepared for that time. Arrive and then be dependent on your children. If that were the case, things like well-being will no longer be front and foremost in your mind. Because now you have been totally ill-prepared. But for those who have already reached that period, there is nothing that is too late. Like, I think there was a lady over here that said, the best time to start is now. So all of these things are things that should be thought of. You want to be in the great place where you do not have to worry about money, so that your mind is free to do things and focus on things like your well-being and the well-being of others.
If you want to have that well-being and you want to start now, as I said before, how do you know how to plan or what to invest in? For instance, if there are some people who are about to finish work, some people who are still looking at finishing work in 15 years, how do you know whether to invest in property, whether to invest in shares, stocks and shares? How do you advise people and what do you advise people to do? Because there's so much out there at the moment. You mentioned cryptocurrency and most of us here groaned. You know, we wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. So how do you know how to invest so that you have the well-being that you spoke about?
There are various asset classes. So if we think about it in a more technical way, we're thinking there are 5 asset classes. You're thinking about equities. Equities are shares in companies. You're thinking about property. You're thinking about commodities. Bonds. Bonds are essentially you lending money to the government or lending money to a company. And you're also thinking about alternative assets, gold, oil, timber. These are various places that you put your money in. But the challenge that you have is you don't know which one. So what you should be thinking about really is how risky or what is the element of risk that I am willing to take. Some people prefer to do things that they understand, like go into property and then buy one house or get a residential property and then rent it out. That's one of the simplest things that people could do. It provides you with a level of secure income. But with everything you do, there is an advantage and a disadvantage, a pro and a con. If you were to go into property, the tax is a problem. You have to pay income tax, you have to pay capital gains, you have to pay stamp duty. Then you have to pay inheritance tax. If you were to go into equities, get shares in a company, okay, they have the best track record. in history. But it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. I'm going to get a heart attack before I reach retirement. Yeah? If you put it in crypto, that's even worse. So your best bet is to be thinking, who can I speak with? To understand where my position really is and what is best for me and my family. If you are able to find someone that you can trust, that is your best starting point. Because there are so many things you need to unpack to get you to that position of where you invest.
When you say mutual, what do you mean, bank or company?
So you can speak to banks, not really, because they're not in a position to advise. You can always speak to people who can help you. So what I would suggest is speak to somebody who is regulated. Because when you speak to anyone who's going to give you advice and that person is unregulated, I need you to understand that unregulated advice is like you going on a holiday and purchasing something that is not at all protected. Are you asking for trouble? You are asking for trouble. If something goes wrong, there is nobody that has your back. Your money is going up in smoke. Your dreams of well-being up in smoke. So you need to speak to somebody that you can find, that you can trust, that is in that sort of regulated world, that will help with it. Because the alternative is to learn it yourself. And there's a premium on time, yeah? And making mistakes. Of course you can get there, but it might take you a while. So you may be best off starting with people you can trust, giving you various elements, and then you putting it all together, and then deciding, okay, this is the best.
I go to just get one maxim. They say the smaller the ball, the more successful the man. That's by the way. The question I was going to ask you was, you haven't compared wills to trust. I think that's one topic we should talk. So it's not trust and wills.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds like more legal question. So,
Yeah, but I don't know. It's straight to the bone. I like it. So here what we're talking about is legacy. Here what we're talking about is legacy. And the reason why I like this question is because with legacy, there is the important element of tax. What you have is a situation where, as individuals right now, you have probably been in a higher rate tax position, on an additional rate tax position. I don't know if that is a familiar term, or am I speaking Greek? Yeah, does everybody understand those terms? Higher rate and additional rate. Okay, so that means that you are invariably paying half your money to the government now whilst you work. Half your money is going. And then you build your wealth out of post-tax income. So after you've built that wealth and you've enjoyed that wealth and you are now passing it on, the gentleman's question was around wills and trusts. When you are passing that on, what happens? The government comes, knock, 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 pay me. They will collect another 40% on your money. That is like an 80% tax. 80%. Another 40% they will come and just collect. So, you are best off trying to protect that legacy. And how do you do it? Wills and trust. So what you need to be thinking about is, how do I now design my will to protect my assets such that I do not get taxed? So you need to be focused on certain types of wills. They refer to them as discretionary wills. So you can put a trust in your will. But the challenge that I have here is that if I start to talk about these things, I will send people to sleep. But needless to say, it is possible for you to set up a will such that you can protect up to £650,000 of your assets. £650,000 of your household's assets can be protected from tax. So it's a question that you need to look at, but to answer the gentleman a little bit more, it's despite it being a very good thing to set up and think about, it is challenging to be able to deal with it in a level that is not, generally that is a level that is not bespoke to the individual. Trusts are the same sort of thing. You need to be in a position whereby if you put assets into a trust, you can protect it for your children. You can be in a position whereby if there was a divorce in the relationship, and these days you guys have all successful marriages here, and by the grace of God it will continue to be like that. But do you understand that the statistics are that 1 in 2 will divorce? 1 in 2, 50%. Which means that when your children now get married, there is a high risk. If you pass on assets to your children, there is a high risk that somebody else is walking away with those assets. So when you put things into trust, you protect those assets through the generations, so that if there is a divorce, that person has no access to the assets. Yeah? But that is, if you like, a little bit of an answer to that question. But that question is a very complex one and can only really be dealt with on a personal, tailored level.
We have a question from an Ibobian. He did his A-levels at Kingston.
Ovie, thank you very much for that lecture. So I left Ibobi 78 and I went to KC 79 and I left KC very quickly, lack of focus. So, anyway, jokes apart, Floriat Collegium. Just a quick question. It's great to be able to accumulate wealth and be financially secured. It takes a lot of hard work. But the other issue, which I think you might want to talk or give just a pointer, is ill health. So you could have your funds somewhere, and you've heard of people, particularly Nigerians, once a wealthy man, but he had to sell his properties because of ill health. So there's also that part. You need to secure your retirement fund, and one of the ways of doing it is to ensure you've got, lots of things that can kick in if you were some health issues. You want to live till 90 years old, till 80, till whatever. You don't want to be 85 and, you have a big problem and your kids have to, sell all your assets because they have to send you to London, as an example. All right? So I just think health is also, there's a big picture around accumulation of wealth to secure your retirement, but there's also the issue of health.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
It's another important question. So thank you very much, Floriat. I don't think I'm leaving here alive. Okay, so that is a very important question, because what happens when you are building your wealth? And we have focused on building wealth. And there's been an important, if you like, addition. I believe the gentleman's name is Femi. And it's an important addition there because you're building wealth. Wealth has nothing to do with your spirituality, nothing to do with your well-being. So you need to also have a balance across these three areas. Your wealth, your spirituality, your health. Think about the building of wealth like the building of a castle, of a fortress. And if the Christians here may permit me to use the Bible, it speaks about building a house on sand. That is what you do when you do not take into account your health. Now, the way to do that is there are things that could be done. You could put in place insurances to protect your health throughout that period. Because one of the things that happens is as you're building your wealth, think about your wealth as going up in that direction, or think about it as a castle, or think about it as a tightrope, as a trapeze artist on a tightrope. As you are walking along this tightrope, if you fall, what happens if you do not have a net? Will you bounce back? Or will you break in two? That net that you have there that helps you to bounce back, that is your health. That is insurance programs you can put in place to take care of your health. Because if you do not, what happens is you now draw from that wealth that you've accumulated, and you can draw from that wealth that you've accumulated at an unsustainable rate, which means that all of that work has been in vain. Okay, so you must be in a situation whereby as you do this, you must be the kind of tourist who jumps into a taxi, enjoys the view en route to the destination, but also remembers to pay the fare. So in your planning, there are several things you should think about. Not just your wealth, not just the money, yeah? The spirituality, the health, all of those things must be accounted for as you plan. Any other questions?
Thank you very much for being with us for the lecture, and also being magnanimous enough to answer our questions. We saw, yes, the Ethiopians have a focus, and the Thinking College is on its way there. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank Mr. Olumide. As I said earlier, the event is in two parts. The first part being the lecture, and now we commence the social part, the drinking, eating, and dancing part. And for that, may I introduce to you the chairman of the Ethiopian College Old Boys Association Europe branch, my senior Gwinga Shebu.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you, and I think quite a few of you were here in October last year, I'm very pleased to say, asking you for money. So, you might find me a bit more relaxed, but that is because I'm not asking you for money now.
And yet. But I want to welcome you all to the Dr. Awe Memorial Lecture. I'd like to thank Ovi for a wonderful talk. In this room, I know there are a number of tax specialists. So if you're sitting at a table with one of them, grab them. They know who they are. Mr. Coca? Oh, sorry. So if you're looking for advice, there's a lot of advice within ICOBA. So make the best use of it. Now, we have these events and they're always a big effort to plan, so I'm going to thank the planning committee for getting us this far. The challenge. As ever, it's a challenge to get this event going, to get people enthused and to support it. I also like to thank Mrs. Awe, or Dr. Awe. I don't know, translates to my sister, but I want to really thank them for continuing to support this event. I really, really appreciate it. I'm also going to pay homage to my seniors, Senior Babs-Kuti. I said last time, Mr. Babs-Kuti, my father's classmate. And I'm over 60 years old, so thank you. But you also thank Senior Nobodu, who's ever present, ever supportive. And we have the pleasure of his wife here with us today. Finally, I thank Otumba Falashe, who's now retired as the second vice president at ICOBA International. So he's relaxing, but we're not going to let him rest, even though he might be thinking that. So, welcome to this fourth Dr. Awe Memorial Lecture Stroke and biennial dinner and dance. Now, what I'm now going to do is, we tend to have these events and there's a lot of talk about Igbobians and so on, but those who know, there are other people in the room, other schools alumni, and so we pay homage to them as well. And so, I'm going to mention the schools that I know are here. After I mention them, if your school's not been mentioned, a shout out will acknowledge you. So, first and foremost, our biggest supporters, our ever-present supporters, Methodist Girls, the next group is, interestingly, this is Methodist Boys High School. And the Baptist Academy, are they here? Yeah. There was one name from Greg's. Okay, thank you. And Holy Child. Yay. Welcome, you're most welcome. And of course, most of you know, King's College 1.5. Sorry. CMS. Okay, you're most welcome. Barika Bomba. Any other schools? Sorry? Okay, Louis Ibadan, you're most welcome. Thank you. Queen's College. Shekewa. Which one? Okay, Lagos Anglican. Actually, some of you might not know, but Miss Bumiani Koya won the lottery. Basically, what we did is we get a complimentary room for this event whenever we do it, and this time around we decided to put it to a prize draw so that one of the guests would get it, and Miss Bumiani Koya was the recipient. Any other school we find? Sorry, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Kinwumi, the Social Secretary of Akuba International. And, sir?
Queen's School Ibadan.
Queen's School Ibadan. Lagos City College. Okay, we have Loyola College Ibadan. Mayflower Ikene. So we have Wesley Girls High School all the way from Ghana. So just to wrap up, I wish you all have a wonderful evening. Enjoy yourselves. There's plenty to drink, there's plenty to eat. Have a good fun. God bless you all. Sorry.
Chilame Hayes, Victor Hayes' wife, and the wife Koba.
Yes. And Victor is my classmate, so I apologize.
President Feko Kowasa, UK. Not only that, I am UK USOSA, Unity School.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I'm just going to indulge us and ask all old Igbobians to stand up and let us sing the school song. Do our best. I'm also wanting to acknowledge that in our midst we have female old Igbobians.
Let me just say
responded. If you know you ate well and you've enjoyed what you've eaten, you need to really respond. Say. Fantastic. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because we are still boys in our own eyes. Let's very quickly move on to the next item on our agenda. A brief discussion about the African Child Trust. But let me quickly introduce the distinguished gentleman who is going to share with us about this particular project. As you all know, serving in communities like this can be thankless. As you all know, serving in communities like ours takes a lot of work. And sometimes you simply want to give up and think, you know what, it's just really not worth the hassle. And then you see this 80 years young man who is still live and lively, who every time you see him has a winning smile on his face, which is only broadened when his wife is sitting beside him. And then you think to yourself, if he can do it at 80 years plus young, why really am I complaining? The only caveat to seniors, we have seniors. Then you have those who are your seniors. The only challenge I have with senior Chief Femi Onabule is just the fact that he didn't go to Townsend House. The rest I can manage. So it is my honor and privilege for me to invite senior Chief Femi Onabule to please give us a very quick introduction to a favorite charity of ours here, the African Child Trust. So when I grow up, I want to be stepping out like this.
Thank you very much. Jonathan. Fellow Igobians, our guests tonight, ladies and gentlemen. To start with, I must thank the President of ICOBA Europe, his executive committee, and the members, organizing members of this grand occasion today. I will also like, before I go on, I know I'm giving only 5 minutes, 1 minute of which I will dedicate with all of you standing to our one and only Olumide Awe, to live in the hearts of those we love is never to die. Olumide Awe lives on. His works live on. Ikoba Europe lives on. Just 1 minute silence, please. May light perpetual continue eternally to shine on his soul. Amen. Thank you.
The timekeeper said the 1 minute is excluded if you're 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. My name is Femi Onobolu, and 35 years ago, my number 8 on the line brother, Dr. Olumide Onobolu, approached me, not for my permission, but to inform me of a project he has. This was a period between 1980 and 1990 when AIDS, the disease AIDS, was ravaging the world, America, Africa, and all over the place. But the worst hit areas was Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, and South Africa. Worst hit because even though America carried it and America spread it, America also had the money to provide medication for all those affected. But Africa, especially East, Central, and South Africa, were so poor that instead of being aided, they were dying, the men especially. And by 1989, many children were roaming the streets because their mothers could not afford to send them to school, even to feed them, not to least to talk about sending them to school, which entailed buying them uniforms, paying their school fees, and so we had so many orphans, fatherless children, and in the remote areas, very poor background families. My brother, by the grace of God, through his PhD thesis, was privileged to be on great demand by different European nations because he specialized on concretes. His thesis was on concrete, and he became an authority on concrete. The density of concrete, the concrete used for buildings, skyscrapers. He became a consultant in that field. And he was looking for something to give back for God's grace and mercies on him. So he decided to help these children, orphans, fatherless children, and the women, the widows. And that was the beginning of African Child Trust. One country, through the churches, because the churches were the ones bearing the brunt of all these children who are roaming the streets. Today, 25 years later, African Child Trust is in 8 African countries. We are in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, Namibia, Nigeria, and Burkina Faso, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Burkina Faso. African Child Trust has trained over 10,000 children through primary, secondary, tertiary, and universities. In the last 10 years, 5 children that started from the ground are now medical doctors through the grace of African Child Trust. Many are engineers in the different fields of engineering. And I will cut it short. This is African Child Trust. To celebrate 25 years of achievement of African Child Trust, we had some functions in London over the month of September. And our last big function will take place on Saturday the 25th of September in Birmingham, November in Birmingham. It's going to be a grand dinner, fundraising dinner, which is going to be, the guest of honor is the Minister for International Development and Africa. That is Andrew Mitchell. He will be the guest of honor and the keynote speaker for the day. Among other things, we're going to have auction sales of very, very many important items, and we're going to have raffle draws, the first prize of which is 4 nights and 5 days in a 5-star hotel called the Royal Marmi Hotel in Crete, Greece. And the winner will have a choice of dates in May or June next year, because that is when the season starts out there. Now, we were planning to have between 200 and 250 people at this grand occasion, but the realities of today has dawned on us that COVID has changed the ways and manners of organizing functions. We are lucky that we are Igbobians here, and Igbobians are supported by Igbobians and related organizations, schools and colleges. We don't have that as African Child Trust. This is why I took the permission from the president to use this as a base. Already the president and some members of our noble organization are building tables of 10 to support this project on the 25th of November. We're going to have the things I mentioned earlier, but also we're going to have the opportunity of raising money through the numbers of the people that will be there. I am given the opportunity to seek support from local Igbobians and all our guests from our various colleges for African Child Trust dinner, special dinner, which will also include dancing afterwards on the 25th. Now, I put some pamphlets and leaflets around. I would like all those. I would like one person on each table to please help me coordinate all those who want, the names of all those who would like to attend this function in Birmingham. The hotel is called Castle Bromwich Hall Hotel. It's a beautiful venue, and there is a special prize for all those who want to spend the night. All this will be made available to all those who put down their names and email addresses, please. I would like somebody from each table to help me coordinate the names of the people who would like to attend this and their telephone numbers, and we will do the rest. Thank you very, very much for listening, and have a beautiful evening. Thank you.
If you know you want to look like this when you're 80 plus, you need to give a bigger round of applause. Of course, one of the things that we are one very significant heritage of Igbobi College is the SDF, Self-Denial Fund, in which we give sacrificially, not just for our cause, but for other noble causes as well. This is one such noble cause, and we are privileged to be a part of it. So please, we all know the story, times are hard, etc., etc. But this is a foundation that has raised 5 medical doctors, has raised so many people, has given hope to the hopeless. And I think the least that we can do is to continue to support this cause. Thank you very much. Agenda is recognition. I did say earlier on that when you work with communities like ours, alumni associations, church communities, sometimes it's very thankless, and most times you don't get any recognition. So sometimes it's a pleasant surprise when you are actually recognized for some of the work that you have done. And we are going to have some recognition here. First of all, for those of us who are part of the last Igbobi College National Executive Council of the international, of the international body. And so the outgoing administration has, in its infinite wisdom, recognized some of us who were part of that time. But most significantly, that was the 90th year anniversary period as well. And I can tell you, the senior, only one senior, Shegun, knows that we worked our socks off to pull that off. And it was, I like to think, a very successful event. Now, the person who is going to give out the certificates is none other than, note, Senior Palashe. Senior Palashe is the senior of many parts. There is hardly any ICOBA activity that he does not take a leading role in. He is not just there as a backbencher. He has joined us in meetings on the train to other places. It's a piece of living history. He actually started the reason why we're all here together today. He was a foundational member, chairman of the Igbobi College Old Boys Association, then known as the UK branch, and now known as the Euro branch. So it is my privilege to welcome Senior
Thank you, Chairman. I called him Chairman because he's the Chairman of Abuja branch, resident in Kent. That is the wisdom of ICOBA UK, or sorry, Europe, because we take the lead. ICOBA UK, yes, was started by some of us, but it was changed by my classmate to ICOBA Europe, Dr. Olumide Awe, who we are remembering today. It is so sad that he's no more with us, but my sect is actually going to celebrate 50 years of our living higher school this year. In fact, we are going to celebrate it 2nd of December. So if you are in Lagos, if you are a member of ICOBA Europe, you are cordially invited. You don't need to pay. So you can see the work of
following members of the NEC. The chairman, please come forward. I do apologize to Dr. Dejo Kubadijo. The immediate Secretary General actually forgot to post your certificate, but I will personally bring it to you when I come back from Lagos. Dr. Kubadijo served before Mr. Gbenga Shehu. So I'll ask him, the chairman, to call the names and I'll just.
Dr. Olatumosun Atanda Falashe, 2001 set.
He's not here, he's my nephew. I'll collect him. He's not here, he's my nephew.
Mr. Olufemi Bankole, 84-86 set. Mr. Jonathan Robson Odubeli, 79-81 set. Chairman Abuja Branch, Finance Bureau.
He can't give himself. Mr. Gbenga Shehu, 7779 said, he served as chairman ICOBA Europe between 2021 and September 2023. Congratulations.
Finally, I have Otumba Bolaji Falashe. I am 71-73.
Now, I'm going to speak to you. Also, for those of you who don't know, we had a remembrance service for all the Igbovians and those who had been connected to Igbobi College on the 13th of September this year. A few sets actually advertised, and some families also advertised. I think the Olatubosuns, the Oga and your brother, Professor Olatubosun, are actually in this book. Femi, Shegun, and the Delois, I can't remember everybody, but we are going to have the volume 2 for this magazine, for this brochure. If you want to advertise, it's only 100,000 naira. At the rate of 1,300 now, it's less than 100,000. So,
just a point of correction, when we announce our juniors, we simply call them by their surnames. We are appointing them here when we say it's Dr. or Mr. So next time it's going to be Falashe where I come and take a certificate. Right, the next item on the agenda is something that is very close to our hearts, as it were. Let me share with you something very deeply personal, just so that you can appreciate Liz Haynes, who is going to talk about STEPS Foundation. I lost my younger sister in 2006. She was murdered in Houston, Texas, herself and her fiancé. My mother has never fully recovered from that loss, to the extent that my mother has never visited my daughter's grave in Houston. For us, it's a regular pilgrimage to go and say hello to her there, as it were. And so you see a very brave woman who has not just turned pain, who has just not just accepted the pain, but has turned it into passion to support other people who would not have had any hope or any chance in life. And I think only a woman could really have had the dedication, the courage, and the emotional capacity to do what she's doing to not only drive the memory of her son, who left a legacy in the things that he did in the field of sports, but also to encourage other people as well. To use that pain as an example, to say, you know what, life goes on. And so we're supporting this charity today in 2 ways. So there is actually opportunity to donate to this charity. There is a QR code on your program where you'll be directed to a website where you can make your donations. But even more practically, you know what it's like the moment you step through those doors and Parker House boys begin to make noise. You probably will forget. I have nothing against Parker House, they just happen to be the last house in the Kobe College. It wasn't my fault. Up block. Mr. Boyga Kuka has a Zettel, he's over there. Mr. Femi Ogidon, sorry, Ogidon, you have Zettel. I'm not by any means saying that he's my junior. Ogidon, where are you? Zettel. So Ogidon has Zettel, Mr. because we're mates. Mr. Boyga Kuka has Zettel. So please, you can make your donations to this very worthwhile cause. You literally are giving life and hope in the field of sports, which is something we're particular about in Igbobi College. So it is my honor, my privilege to invite Liz Haynes to talk to us about the SEBS Foundation. A round of applause for the
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say I feel very humble here. So many lovely people in the room, and so many wonderful sentiments that are being shared. I also feel incredibly grateful to you for inviting me and for supporting SEBS Foundation. I think it would be remiss of me not to mention that there are terrible things happening in the world today. And I have to put what I'm doing in the context of people who are losing their lives. We know that women and children are being bombed every day. However, I'd like to talk to you about a catastrophe that's happening here in our country, in the UK. It's a quiet, insidious catastrophe that we are sleepwalking into, and it's our children. I'd like to talk to you about, so I don't come from London, I'm a country girl, but I've lived in South London. I was counting up the years the other day, almost half my life. It's a long time. I'd like to talk to you about 2 children. I've never met them, but their stories touch my heart. The first story was told to me by one of my fellow trustees, and she's a rugby coach and she's a teacher. She told me about this lad called Keishon. Keishon grew up with his mother and grandmother in an estate in Merton in South London, which is not far from where I live. And his mother was working hard to bring in food, to clothe her son, and he was looked after mostly by his grandmother. Fortunately for Keishon, he got involved in the local rugby club, and that occupied him, took him away from lots of difficult experiences that happen in those environments. And my fellow trustee used to take him home after all training, and every time she took him home, she would say to him, Keishon, you're not in the gang, are you? Promise me you won't join the gang. And he would say, no, miss, no, I'm not in the gang. I'm not going to do that. But she would see his face harden as he reached near his home, and she knew that he was having to face lots of challenges. And then one day, she arrived at the training and she saw that all the boys were very despondent, very downhearted. And she asked them what the problem was. And they told her that Keishon had gone with 3 of his friends on their bicycles to Tooting, and one of his friends had killed another boy. Keishon was given 25 years in prison. He will not be out of prison until he's in his 40s. He did not kill him, did not kill the boy, but he was there and he's guilty by association. His grandmother died from grief, and his mother is keeping herself alive to support him in prison. This is one boy. Now I'll tell you a completely different story. This story you may have heard. A girl from Croydon, which is very near to where I live again. 15-year-old girl, beautiful girl, loving family, church-going family. She went to one of the most prestigious schools in South London. At 8:30 one morning, a boy who was her boyfriend found her, followed her, wanted her to go back out with him again. She refused. He attacked her with a knife and he killed her. Eliane Andam. That was very recently. I'm sure you heard it in the news. In the middle of Croydon at 8:30 in the morning, in a main road with offices all around, 10 minutes away from one of the best schools in the area. These are our children. How are we letting our children, a girl of 15, not be able to go to school safely? And that boy who killed her, how are we letting him believe it's okay to carry a knife like that? He will be lost to his family. They will be devastated, as Eliane's family are devastated. These are our children. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about what SEBS Foundation does. And we focus our work really on 3 different things. One of them is grassroots rugby training. You know, my son was a rugby player, he played for England. And the idea is to get the children, girls and boys, off the streets and out of the clutches of these criminal gangs. People who just want to use them. They're not interested in them, they're not interested in their lives, they just want to use them. That's one thing we do. We also provide mental health training for teachers and coaches. Because our children need support mentally as much as they need support physically. And then the last thing we do is provide scholarships to some of the best schools in the country for children, like you'll see in the programme a young lad called Cassius Cleves, who's now also played for England. He came from a single-parent family. His mother is lovely, I know her well. And he's been to one of the best schools in the country now. That's what we now have 6, what we call SEB scholars, at different independent schools, private fee-paying schools. And that gives them opportunities that they would never have been able to dream of. I was telling Ovi, sitting next to me, I was chatting to Cassius's mother, Jackie, and Jackie had said that one of Cassius's classmates had invited him to go and spend the summer in Portugal in their villa. And Jackie said he didn't have a passport, and she could not afford to pay for his ticket. And his classmates' parents said, no, don't worry, we just want him to come and stay with us. And they sorted it all out for him. He will have different opportunities in life. Different doors will be open to him. And he will be able to fulfill his potential, because all of these children have potential. It's just a question of putting them in the circumstances that allow them to fulfill that potential. That's all they need. That's all they need. So My son, we gave him, one of the names we gave him was his grandfather's name, Olumide. And he really did embody God's grace. He was a beautiful child. I'd like to think that we all have that grace in us. And I think that we can do something for our children. I mean our children as a community, not our children that we gave birth to. These children all just deserve a chance. That's all they need.
Let's have a round of applause for Seth. We have the spirit of giving in Igobi College. I don't know about other schools, but in Igobi College we give. Ogidon? There's Zettel there. Mr. Jeremy Coker, there's Zettel there. Please let's make a difference in the lives of our children, as Liz has just said. Which brings us very swiftly to the third main part of today's agenda. The reason why many of us are here, those are the younger generation, should I say. And that is, where's Tolu? Tolu? And so I do believe we need to have a closing prayer. Is it not? No. Okay. Okay, and so tonight is going to be time to shake your feet to the beat. That's so old school, so it is. Shake your feet to the beat. Ma? Okay. There's a photo booth out there. You can have your personal picture taken in the photo booth. It's just a tenner. You have one taken out there. So that's out there. So if you want, and don't forget also, do register your vehicle so you don't get landed with a penalty notice or something sometime next week. And so it is my distinguished. Those troublesome junior boys are here again. He's waving to me from there. So that is not here, by the way. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We hope you've enjoyed it so far. Don't forget, let's give. We've got the African Child Trust as well. They do wonderful work around Africa. We've got SEPS Foundation. So please let's remember them in the things that we do here today. As much as we're enjoying ourselves here, let's remember those who don't have the opportunity to enjoy themselves as much as we are, especially on this side of eternity. And so I hand over to Olu.
Roots music. We speak in cheers.
Sabi girl no dey too like talk. Animals dey in human form. Body man nobody like talk, but you must hustle if you want job. If no finish them on fight us. If them dey run them no fit catch up. I know they form say I too like us. No come they form say you too like us. You no get the time for the hate and the bad energy. Got my mind on my money. Make you dance like Coco. Steady going like block on me. Steady on my time, no yeah, what they want telling me. What they want my fantasy. What they do. feel no good on you. You see your body carry something I never understand. I must confess, your body very offensive. It is scatter my defense, defense you. I must confess, your body not my objective. They give me problems. I carry, would you fly with me? International, okay with me for flight. Only
You want to
Baby, gonna, waka waka when you enter America. Baby, gonna, will you give me sugar? Wala, wala. Macho Mona Lisa, 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 Macho Mona Lisa. Me and the blessings, when them things don't go so. And I love it so, can see my team, them no big feeders. And I use no big breakfast, mama, G, my NGP. person, I'm not the sick, don't give me medicine. I can't help me, you help me some of my way. Allow me to enjoy myself, allow me to enjoy myself, allow me to enjoy myself, allow me to enjoy, allow me to enjoy myself, allow me to enjoy myself, allow me to enjoy myself, allow me to go. I'm a winner, the money that I'm
us